Simulated racing can be awesome, but it can also be kind of a free-for-all. Interestingly, auto racing faced the same problem in its earlier days. Whether it was on the back roads, the beaches, or the city streets, the racing was fun. But there was always a certain level of chaos and danger, until some folks came along and put some order to all of this. Stuff like official racetracks, regulations about weight and equipment, and enforcement of standards. That's what gave us high-speed excitement, fast-paced action, and photo finishes. That's when racing became racing. The guys over at iRacing.com have made the same transformation in the world of sim racing. Sure, they've got the most accurate tracks and realistic cars out there, but that's just the start. See, iRacing analyzes the performance and results of each driver in every race, so you can be sure you're always placed in races where the competition will be tight, and that those reckless drivers who ruin it for us all are kept in the pits. Not to mention that with over 45,000 active members already in their vast community, you can find races day and night, so you can always get in on the action. You can even join a league of your favorite series. And since updates are always automatic, you don't have to worry about software and can focus on the track. Zip up your fire suit and check out iRacing.com.
Red Bull GRCs are now available on iRacing. I personally put my blood, sweat, and tears into this thing, developing the cars, the tracks, the dirt, making sure it is authentic as possible, and I really think you guys are gonna love it. The best part is that this 600 horsepower Volkswagen Beetle is free to all members. So get signed up now and come race me online.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the NMNTS Racing Series once again. Tonight we've got the BA Graphics IceBreaker LCQ on hand tonight. Thankfully I've got a co-commentator with me, Joshua Medlock from Max Speed TV, a newbie to the NMNTS Racing Series and especially to PSI TV, considering he has his own nice little thing going with Max Speed, and I've tuned in quite a few times. He does a great job. Joshua, why don't you introduce yourself?
Well, hey guys, it's nice to be here to, call these races with you. Nice to come on board and be part of the, Monday Night Thunder Championship Series. I've watched a lot of races and, y'all guys put on a pretty good show.
Yeah, every time we come out with these guys and, show one of these races on PSI TV, I'm always more and more impressed. I've raced with these guys for over a year now, but it's always nice to be on the watching end and see it from a different perspective and see everything that goes on. Sometimes it's a bit interesting. Sometimes you get some extracurricular activity, but oftentimes it's just really cool to watch and just see talent at hand. I think that's something you'll find both later on tonight with the IceBreaker itself, while I'll be racing in it in the number 22, and next Monday night, and possibly in the future as well. Hopefully we can work something out, be it you broadcasting to Max Speed yourself or joining me at PSI TV. Hopefully you get to see more of the action here in the NMNTS. I think it's always fun to watch that. So moving on from that, though, we've got a predetermined lineup for Joshua's race later on, the BA Graphics Icebreaker in the NMNTS SimSpec Monday Night Thunder Series. And this is pretty much your last chance to get into it. If you aren't already locked into that race, this is the race to beat everyone else in, best the rest, as I sometimes say, and get on into it. You got 2 spots, basically. Top 2 spots will transfer in, and that's it. If you aren't in the top 2, you're pretty much, for lack of a better term, SOL, and we'll just leave it at that. Josh, I really just I think there's going to be a lot of action in these 30 laps coming up.
Yeah, they got 30 laps to do it in, and we know how Daytona or Talladega is on a super speedway. It's anybody's ball game. But that last lap is what all that matters coming down to that checkered flag. Are you going to be in the top 2 spots, or are you going to have to try it again next season? It's going to be a very hard fought battle between these guys. It's going to be very, very interesting to watch how it all plays out going into tonight in the Icebreaker.
Yeah, and I got to mention real quick, I'm going to look for the lineup. I actually forgot to keep this up. I'm a bad commentator, don't worry. But these guys that locked in, along with myself, had to do it through polls and wins and previous championships. We didn't get in just by being here. We didn't get in just by asking the admins nicely. We had to work at it, and we had to do something significant last season to make it in. And so, this is a chance for everyone to either do something significant again or do something significant for the first time. And that might sound bad, but this is really the proving grounds going into 2018. That's why they have it set up like this. That's why the manufacturers in real day-to-day NASCAR focus on this race so much, along with places like Indianapolis and Darlington. This is one of the proving grounds in NASCAR and really across all motorsport to prove what you got and set the tone for the future.
You are exactly right, Andrew, on that one. And of course, I have the rows wrote down for who's going to start work for tonight in the BA Graphics Icebreaker, except for the last 2 qualifiers that they will be decided here in the next 30 laps or so as they get this underway. Those will be the last 2 that actually get into that. So, but I do have all those wrote down and ready to rock and roll.
Yeah, I actually just pulled it up myself. We've got, I'll actually be starting on the front row with Spence Thompson, and you'll probably recognize some of the names as I go through these names that are locked in already. Spence Thompson, myself, Andrew Cardinale. We've also got Jared Beasley, Bradley Wilson, Mark Broderick, Zach Lindgren, Mike Bruno, Jason Alexander, Michael Redding, Gordon Larson Jr., Matthew Welzenbach, Tyler Justice, of course, one of the biggest names in the NMNTS Racing Series. We've also got Blake Falone, David Levine, Craig Lerman, PJ Popham, Aiden Young, Terry Mason, Jackson Allen, and as Joshua mentioned, we've got the back 2 spots being filled by whoever qualifies their way in by virtue of this 30-lap, almost like a heat race, an LCQ, a last chance qualifier. So, it's big names for this series, and this is the biggest proving ground there is. This is the biggest stage there is in pretty much all of racing. So this is super important to guys. I know Ryan Daniels, for example, who will be in tonight's LCQ in the number 52. He's super hyped about tonight. He's super pumped to get out there and see what he can do, and he really, really wants to win this. So I expect he's going to really be working hard at it.
Yeah, I expect a lot of these guys out here are going to be working hard at fighting up for the position. But, of course, 30 laps. That may not seem like a whole lot of laps, which it's not. But, Daytona being a, 2 mile, 2.5 mile super speedway, it's a lot longer than you think.
Yeah, and this, the overall race should probably take about 30 minutes, I'd say. Possibly up to 35, maybe 40, depending on cautions. Obviously, you figure this place is about a 50-second lap time per lap. Obviously, you can see some of the times into the 46s, but on average, you'll probably run in the 50s. And, that turns into about 30 minutes of race time for 30 laps. So, we'll be around 30 to 40 laps, so you can expect that length, and that's a lot of time to work with. And you can either make the most of it, or, sometimes guys want to go to the back, and that's not a bad idea. Get out of the wrecks early, but sometimes you don't leave yourself enough time to work back to the front here.
Yeah, and we all know how Daytona can be when the big one happens. Of course, you know, we've got not really a big, huge field, but there are a lot of trucks out here. And, you know, as they get grouped up together and side by side, they're going to become a pack. And one slip up from anybody could potentially end somebody's day very quickly.
Yeah, and there are no faster pairs in either of the races tonight, nor will there be any faster pairs in the rest of the season in the NMNTS Racing Series. That was done away with mid-season last year in 2017, and currently there's no plans of going back on that. So anything can end somebody's day here. Hopefully we don't see that happen, at least not too early in either race. I'd like to at least make it to the end later on. But it's obviously a possibility. Just like in the real races at Daytona, any little thing can turn into 30 trucks wrecked, or 30 cars, whatever it may be. So any small slip up can be just disastrous. Now, away from just the overall talk, hyping up the event here, Josh, I want to get to our practice speed since these guys are in their drivers meeting now and about to head into qualifying. I'll go through the top 10 and then hand you everyone else. And Ron Miller currently is your top spot in practice with the number 16, followed by Ronald White, Joe Pritchett, Sawyer Ott, Ryan Daniels, Jared Wishon, Brendan Elsoff, Jason Burgess, Jared Mogard, and Derek Robinson.
Yep, Robbie Buckner will be in 11th, John Kennedy 12th, Joseph, I cannot pronounce his last name.
I believe that's
Andy Jar.
Andy Jar, either one works.
Okay, Zachary Kreiser will be 14th, Corey Waters in 15th, Trevor Herman in 16th, David Heise in 17th, and Chris Titus in 18th. Of course, we know the rest of them.
Yeah, and from then on, it's just guys who are either helping out up here in the booth. That'd be myself, or actually it looks like Craig Lerman will be racing, but he didn't get a time in, as well as possibly Kenny Yance. So, that's your field. I mean, that's who we've got to work with, just about 20 trucks to try and get in, and, it doesn't seem too daunting, but really when you put 20 trucks on a track like this, and you consider that the air that you're hitting is keen to stop a truck from moving forward, it's hard to work through these packs. Obviously, you can get 2 to 3 wide, sometimes even 4 wide if guys are really pushing it hard enough, and it's hard to really go anywhere. You have to make moves early, and you have to make moves quick. You can't take a couple of laps to do something. You have to make the move whenever you have the chance, and you have to be pretty selfish, honestly. Dale Jr. says it all the time when he broadcasts some of these races with like NBC or whatever. You got to be selfish. If you're not selfish in one of these races, you will go to the back because everyone else will be selfish around you. And since you're trying to help them out, they just want to be selfish and they're going to send you right to the back. So you gotta keep your own wishes in mind. Obviously, we've got teams in the NMNTS, we've got rivalries, allies, whatever. But you have to, on these plate tracks, you have to make moves for you. You can't make moves for those around you.
Yes, sir. I've seen it many a times where you think you've got help and then you get dumped by somebody thinking they're helping you or you're helping them. And, it happens at any racetrack. But as we are now winding down and we're headed to the next segment here at Daytona.
Yeah, the finishing up on the top of your screen signifies that these guys are done with their drivers meeting. They're going to head into qualifying, and these guys each have 2 laps to set. You'll see 3 laps to go in the top. That's just IRTVO, basically showing the out lap as well. But these guys have 2 laps to go set the best time they can. Now, I won't be able to show the qualifying laps. I should have actually come in as a spectator rather than a driver. Didn't think about it initially, but these guys are probably going to take the top side. If they're in tune with how to go faster at Daytona for qualifying, they're going to take the top side through lap 1. Then drop to the bottom in the tri-oval and run the very bottom as smoothly as they can to try and get a lap time. And it's super competitive. These guys are on fixed setups, so it comes down to the driver.
Yes, it does. It comes down totally to the driver. And, we're still waiting on the first time to come in. So as they get closer and closer to their 1 to 2 laps for their qualifying time, we'll get, as they come in for who will grab the pole and who will start in the back of the pack. But, just because you put a time in, we've seen guys start on pit road before. Now, do you think they'll do it here?
considering there's no guaranteed caution in this race, I don't think anybody's going to opt to start from the pits. And if you do, that's one of the times where you're going to have to make it a team decision. You're not going to be able to do that on your own and be able to even think about staying on the lead lap, because if you go more than 10 or so laps, you'll be back within range of the leaders. They'll put you a lap down real quick, and all of a sudden you're in a real bad spot. So it's a viable option. I wouldn't do it personally. I would just start and drop to the back as I can. But if you do it, you know, these guys are going to have to make it a team decision. They're going to have at least one or two teammates with them. And it's going to be risky because he may not have a caution. Obviously, it's Daytona. We're going to bank on a caution normally because, you know, as we were talking about earlier, any little thing can cause a huge wreck. But that doesn't mean we're going to have one.
Exactly. You know, as times are starting to come in now here in qualifying, Mogard, well, now he just got knocked off by Elshoff. So, you know, times are starting to come in pretty quickly with a, you know, in the mid 56 range to the 5102 low 50 range. So, quick times.
Yeah, and we were just looking at the practice results a few minutes ago, and those guys were in the 46s, the 45s even. And then you see these qualifying times come in, and you see the top two actually separated by just 1/1000th of a second. That's super close. They're in the 50s. That's what the draft can do for these trucks, considering, you know, when you're in at least a tandem, if not a full line, you're putting multiple motors together that are producing somewhere around 700, 800 horsepower each. And when you put those together and get them in a line, get that negative pressure in front of the second or third truck in line, you're going to go a lot faster, whereas if they're just on their own, you can see the detrimental effects to the lap times. Obviously, they're 5 seconds slower. But I do want to mention, since there was at least Glenn Lieb asking if the Clash was going to be broadcast, I'm not sure if you mean the actual event tonight or the NASCAR Clash, but the actual event tonight that these guys are trying to get into will be broadcast by Joshua Medlock on Max Speed TV. I highly suggest that even for more than just this race, you go and check them out on YouTube. Certainly a worthy channel to be checked out, and you definitely should go and subscribe to them and watch just any race they do. I think they're quite entertaining, just like some of the guys like RaceSpot or LSR TV. I think Max Speed is up there.
Well, we sure do appreciate that, Andrew. You know, coming from, you know, another broadcasting company, you know, we all got to work together to get, you know, iRacing just in general out there, because we're all a big community, you know, working to get iRacing, make iRacing bigger and better. But, you know, when it comes down to broadcasting, you know, at least, you know, find certain broadcasters and everything. But, you know, we all got to work together in some way, shape, or form. But, you know, we've only got, you know, several cars out there still qualifying, so they're winding down these qualifying times pretty quick here, and we'll get this LCQ underway.
Yeah, these guys are really putting times down real quick. Obviously, you see Joe Pritchett at the top of your list as the results are on your screen right now. Derek Robinson currently in second, just 3/100th of a second off of the 83. Derek Robinson and David Heiza do not have numbers popping up where everyone else does. That is because they have triple-digit numbers. We're working on fixing that. I just got to figure out exactly where to put those in IRTVO so that they actually show up. But we'll work on that as the season kicks into high gear. But actually, Robbie Buckner now into second spot here. Josh, sorry. Sawyer in fifth, Ronald White sixth, Jared Mogard currently seventh, Jason Burgess currently in eighth, Zachary Kreiser ninth, and John Kennedy rounding out your current top 10 here in qualifying.
Yep, Chris Titus so far in 11th, B. Elshoff in 12th. That would be, see, Elshoff, where's he at? Oh, my IRTVO is messing up. I don't know why it's doing that, but T. Harmon in 13th, Ron Daniels, I believe that's R. Daniels in 14th, and R. Miller in 15th. And I don't know why my IRTVO is doing this.
Well, it's okay. I'll cover that real quick. We've got Joseph Andujar currently in 16th spot in the number 13, Corey Walters in 17th spot, and Jared Washon rounding out the field as the Caboose currently in 18th. But I'll tell you what, we did the Cup event, the last off-season Cup event for the NMNTS last week. Brendan and I did. And I was very surprised by Jared Washon. Believe me, he may be last on the list right now, but that kid is a shoe. And I would be watching for that number 96 to come running through the field and have a chance at getting into the show when the night is said and done. Again, he's a shoe. I was very, very impressed by him last week.
I didn't get a chance to watch last week's race, but I'll hold your word to it. I mean, I have watched many races by these guys, and last season, the season before that, and of course, I've watched throughout the year when I first started on iRacing, and I'm never disappointed. I mean, yeah, there are some bad races, but that goes for every league. You'll have your more cautions than you want, but for the most part, everybody puts the foot down and says, you know what, enough's enough. Let's have a good race, and I think that's what these guys are going to do here tonight. Not only for this shootout here, but for the icebreaker coming up a little while after this LCQ race.
Yeah, and I can give you my personal standpoint on it going into tonight. Considering I'm starting on the front row in a very vulnerable spot. My personal opinion on how we should run both of these races is, if there's a jitter in the start, we get a quick caution. As long as it's nothing too big, just maybe a single car spin or something, that's okay, that's excusable. But you have to be careful here because you can easily turn somebody and you really just have to give room. A short-term gain is not worth a possible long-term loss. It's not worth it to be making super big moves early. Every once in a while, you'll be put in a position where you might have to make a move. You might have to do something just to keep going, to keep in the race. But again, I really do feel my personal motto is kind of a short-term gain is not worth a long-term loss.
Wake up.
So you can't be too aggressive with it, otherwise bad things can happen.
Yes, exactly. You are at a very vulnerable spot starting on the outside of Spence Thomas tonight. But, that could actually work in your favor as well, but it could also be a detrimental to the racetrack. But hopefully good luck to everybody in tonight's race, including the two LCQs who will qualify tonight for that race. And, of course, good luck to everybody as well for the sim spec on the 19th to where y'all start at y'all's points.
Yeah, and I had the privilege of running with these guys last year in the points series, points paying series, that is, in the trucks, and it was a lot of fun. These guys are certainly no rollovers, and it'll be a lot of fun to watch, especially next Monday night at Daytona on the 19th, and everywhere after that. I think you're going to be in for a treat Monday night, and hopefully you find a way to join us throughout the season after that. But we are a bit pressed for time, so we're gonna get Robbie Buckner in here real quick. We don't have the pole sitter in TeamSpeak, so just to quicken things up, actually I can't move him in here. Forgot about that. So I'll try and message him to get him in here. If not, we can try third place. So I will try and get Robbie in here real quick, because we don't have Joe Perchette in TeamSpeak, unfortunately, so we can't interview him. So yeah, that's a shame. However, we will kick up the results real quick so you can see the top 10. And there you go. Joe Perchette through John Kennedy, your top 10. Burchett will have Robbie Buckner to his outside for the start of this race, Josh. And a couple of real competitive guys up on the front row. Let's see if Robbie... Actually, Joe Burchett did just come in, so we'll get him in here. Joe Burchett, this is Andrew Cardinale in the PSI TV booth. Do you have a copy? Looks like he's having a mic issue. We'll give him just a second. Joe Burchett, do you have a copy?
Yeah.
All right. Well, Joe, nice of you to come on in. Glad you came in for this quick interview. You're looking pretty good out there in the number 83 Swamp Dust Seasoning Toyota, I almost said Camry, Toyota Tundra rather. Do you think you have a shot at just keeping it up there, keeping it clean and green, and getting into the icebreaker here tonight?
Yeah. I mean, with it being Daytona, basically everybody's got a shot if they keep the truck clean. I'm hoping to try to keep all these guys behind me. Probably won't keep the lead the whole race, but I'm hoping to be up there at the end, at least grab one of the two spots and take it into the icebreaker later on.
Sounds great, man. We'll be watching for that number 83 Swamp Dust Machine. Is there anyone else that you want to shout out to? And Josh, I'll let you just have at it after he does that if you have any questions for him.
I just, shout out to everybody watching, all my teammates watching. Have a good race.
All right. Well, Josh, do you have any questions for him?
Well, no, not really. Just good luck, Joe. Have fun down there, and we hope to see you in the LCQ race. Getting into the next race coming up, man. Good luck, bud.
Thank you, man.
All right, and that was Joe Perchette out of the number 83 Swamp Dust Seasoning Machine here tonight. Nice of him to come up here and get that pole interview out of the way. Again, he is your pole sitter here tonight in the LCQ for the BA Graphics IceBreaker at Daytona in the NMNTS SimSpec Championship Series. So yeah, I think he's already one of the guys putting his name in the bag to be watched for. Obviously, you got to watch out for Robbie Buckner, Derek Robinson, and everyone else up in the front. We'll go through the grid here now. Joe Burchett, as I just said, on the pole. Robbie Buckner in second place. Now moving on to row number 2, we've got Derek Robinson and David Heiza. Since their numbers don't show, they are the 818 and the 711. In row number 3, we've got Sawyer Ott and Ronald White. In row number 4, we've got Jared Mogard and Jason Burgess. And in row number 5, we've got Zachary Kreiser out of Pennsylvania and John Kennedy out of Illinois.
Yep, row number 6, Chris Titus. We'll be starting 11th. Brendan Elshoff in 12th. Row 7, Trevor Harmon in 13th. Ryan Daniels in 14th. Row 8, Ron Miller in 15th. Joseph Andurar in 16th. And row 9, Corey Waters in 17th. Jared Wyshon, is that how you pronounced his last name, in 18th?
I've been saying
that'll be it.
Yeah, I think that's it. I think Craig Lerman and Kenny Yance may also be racing, but they did not put down a time, so I'm not totally certain if they will or not. And as these guys roll off the grid, you see the Swamp Dust Seasoning Machine rolling off in first place, and I actually finished that paint scheme up last night / this morning, so it's nice to see it on the track already. And yeah, should be a pretty fun run here. Is there any quick bets that you want to make on the winner here tonight, Josh?
Well, betting is not my forte, but, I'm going to put my money on the 39 and the 49 tonight. That's going to be two of the guys that I'm actually going to be, not necessarily rooting for, but, kind of watching out for. Sawyer Ott in the number 49 starting, pretty, right there in 5th spot. And then, of course, the number 49 of, is he even in here? Let's see, the number 49 is Sawyer Ott, and the number 39 of Zachary starting back here in 9th.
That sounds about right. And real quick, before we get under green, want to bring up the track information here tonight. We're at Daytona International Speedway. As previously mentioned, it is a 2.5 mile super speedway. Track temp is 105 degrees, and that's pretty warm. But these tires should hang up to it. We'll check the weather now. The air temp is just a nice 78 degrees here in Florida. Forecast is clear, and we're coming to the green, and I'll let you call it out, Josh.
Well, all right. Sounds good. As they make their way around the corner here, getting ready to drop the green flag here, the number 83 of Joe Burchett. The pace car dives in. Green flag is out, and we are underway for the LCQ Last Chance Qualifier race here at the Monday Night Thunder Championship Series.
And already you see these guys pretty much even. They're both just heading off into the corner with a big brick of a truck, and there's no advantage just yet, but you see the inside line starting to pull away. It is the shortest way around the track, and the top side doesn't have momentum just yet, but now you see the 90 Robbie Buckner starting to come back on the top side. BA Graphics on the door, and he's getting a run with the help of the Carl's Body Shop 711. That's David Isa.
Yes, sir, and as we see that top line starting to form out, we have several cars getting lined up. The number 42 catching up to the number 23 of maybe going to get that top line to push around that low line. It's, they're going to be fighting till the end. It's going to be very hard to watch.
Yeah, I mean, these guys already have to be pretty much clinching. And I think you can probably get what I mean by that. These guys, they're inches away from each other. They're doing almost 200 miles an hour around this 2.5 mile speedway. And there's not much room. You see there's room for about 3 trucks, and that's about it. And that's even really hard to do because these trucks just want to buff it around in the air, especially further back in the pack. So when you get back to guys like the 99 of Ronald White, the 23 Jason Burgess, and even the 39 Zachary Kreiser, those trucks are not going to be handling just right. You see Brennan Elshoff coming into the picture, John Kennedy as well. Corey Walters hanging on to the back of the group. These guys, they have one goal right now, and I think that's to hang on to this front pack in case they have to start pushing towards the end of this race. 2 laps in the books now, actually 3, I think, with 28 to go.
Yep, and Corey Waters and Chris Titus have brought themselves into the pictures as well, catching up with that lead pack. But you can't count out these guys back here in the back of the number 27 of Trevor Harmon and Ron Miller, who's directly behind him, getting a push from Ron Miller, Trevor Harmon, and they are also catching that lead pack. So they are forming up. It's just taking them a minute to pick up speed and get the draft in front of the cars in front of them.
Yeah, and I think this is kind of a cool angle here. This is focused on the 27, but from the chopper. You can see the 27, the bottom right of your screen. The 16 is behind him. He got right up to the 28. Corey Walters through that corner. Trevor Harmon working his teammate. Ron Miller right back up to the lead pack. They're not going away at all. Corey Walters actually kind of falling back from that lead pack about a car length, but he'll get right back in it. He's certainly not out of the draft, and I think this is just a pretty cool angle watching these guys around the track, pretty much following them. Almost to a T. You can see just as they try and catch up, almost like a video game perspective here. And Jared Washon also starting to catch up to that 16 as well. And you see a truck dipping out, actually. That's going to be Jared Mogard in 3.
Yes, sir. And, of course, back here in the back of the pack, trying to catch up with the guys is Ryan Daniels on the number 52 Dynaco machine. He's losing that draft by them guys. And, buddy, that's not a good thing here at Daytona. You really want to keep up with the car in front of you or behind you or have somebody push you. But it is not working out for Ryan Daniels right at this moment as he is falling back about 0.7 of a second behind the lead pack.
Yeah, I think his game plan was to go to the back, and he had no one to go back there with him. So I think right now he's just trying to hang on to the coattails of this draft. I think the truck ahead of him now is going to be Ron Miller. He had Jared Washon directly ahead of him, but now looks like the 28 Corey Walters and the 96 Jared Washon might be headed his way, but he's got to be really careful about how he does this and his next move, as he is currently in the 18th spot, barely hanging on to this draft. I'm not sure he's going to be able to hang on, and looks like the Dynaco machine already falling out of the draft, and I can tell you already, if this race goes green, he is not going to be happy because he is one of the most passionate guys when it comes to plate track racing, and he really, really wants to make this icebreaker tonight.
Oh, yeah, and I'm sure that goes for pretty much everybody in here, too. You know, they really want to get into that icebreaker in the last chance qualifier, but, 25 laps to go. They're gonna, you'll see right now they're being pretty patient, but as it comes down to they wind down the laps, patience is not a key feature. They're going to be jostling for more positions, and I do not believe they have to pit, do they?
No, this league runs full fuel tanks, so these guys have enough fuel to go all the way to the end, especially if they go green. Especially if they get a caution, but even if they go green, they've got enough fuel to go with 30 laps, so they don't have to pit at all. The only time they'd pit at all, I think, would be as if they get damage and there isn't a caution, or if they get damage and there is a caution. Rare chances of them pitting, really. It all comes down to just making sure you're up in the front. I think with 25 laps to go, if this was a Daytona 500, this is when I'd expect my hero Dale Jr. to get up to the front. So I don't think there's really any time for laying back. I think you have to get up there, get on the wheel, get elbows up, and go for it.
Yeah, and we notice a lot of side-by-side drafting here, catching that side draft off the car beside you. But you got to be really careful of getting that side draft, because one slip up and you will take out not only yourself but the car next to you and maybe all the cars behind you. So they're being very patient, very cautious about getting that side draft. But there is some side drafting going on between these vehicles.
Yeah, these guys are definitely going to work with the side draft a bunch as we get into the latter stages of this race. You can see the 52, the bright yellow 52, is not with this group, so he has fallen back, and actually 3 wide a little further back. Jared Mogard barely got to the outside of, I'm not sure what number that is, actually. I think that's the 25, Chris Titus, actually, that he got to the outside of for just a moment. And those guys are teammates, so I think Mogard left the front of the pack to go work with his teammates, and Looks like it's working out, but they almost had a moment there through the tri-oval.
Yeah, and those are the moments you've got to really watch out for.
Yeah, you can't get 3 wide too early because you just might not be quite used to this. If you haven't put in enough practice, you might not be totally on top of your game, and if you're 3 wide early, you're liable to end up in an accident. It's just not a good idea in these first 10 laps or so, as we haven't even gotten through 10 laps, and you can see the double wide has not gone away. Actually, Joe Bichette blinking a little bit. You saw the 818 react a little bit, maybe just subconsciously. He reacted to the tri-oval, ran a little bit wide, almost into his teammate David Heizet to his outside, but the 83 Joe Bichette, I think, will be called to the back if he keeps blinking. I know that is a rule in the NMNTS, and maybe a note for you as you broadcast next week's race. They do have rules regarding blinking. If they blink for too long, the admins will send that car to the back of the field just to keep the rest of the field safe from a big accident, basically.
Yes, Andrew, I have been in league races where that rule is in play. If you are blinking really, really bad and you can't get it under control, you will be, asked to go back to the back of the pack. Of course, if you continue blinking, you will be asked to park it until your blinking comes, under control. But, and that hurts too because, everybody's internet speed is different. Some people don't have the fast enough internet as others, so you may blink a lot more than others. But iRacing also does have its issues as well. It's the internet, so we all may be blinking at one time. You don't know, but that is something to be aware of for anybody out there watching, or even including the racers out there. And boy, the 8-1. What is that? The 818 of Derek Robinson got below the yellow line. Not a place to be going around the corner.
Yeah, and actually that brings me into a great segue. I want to bring up the visor cam that I have set up on all these drivers. We'll bring that up here. Actually, that's the wrong one, but I'll find it real quick. I believe it's this one, actually. Yeah, this is on the front of the helmet for each driver, and you can see, you don't see a whole lot. This is actually higher than the driver's eyes, so you don't see a whole lot. So sometimes going into a corner when you're packed up on the guy in front of you, you won't see maybe the wall to the outside. That's a lot easier to see, but you might not see the double yellow lines to the inside. And actually, the 818 made a move to the top side, and that created a huge jam up, and we're wrecking. I was riding along with Ronald White. He ended up getting turned as he had to check up for cars ahead of him, and just a huge wreck. He got turned right in the center of the field. Brendan Elsoff was involved, Jared Mogard as well, and that's a huge, huge accident already. Unfortunately, one of our own, Brendan Elsoff, was involved, so it looks like he might be joining you in the IceBreaker. But he, Jason Burgess, Ronald White, and many, many more already out of this one.
Yes.
But I'll tell you what, Josh, the one guy who just had a heart attack, but in a good way, is going to be Ryan Daniels. He was seconds behind this field, and you just saw him speeding through there, speeding through the wreckage, and he's got to be happy that just happened.
Oh, I'm sure he is, but there's going to be a lot of people out there that's not very happy as they get wrecked out, Brendan Elshoff being one of them. I'm not sure if he has he's got some heavy damage on that 61 Napa Auto Parts machine. No resets, so they have to get it fixed, or they just quit. But don't quit. You just never know what's going to happen. Still there?
Sorry, I was just talking with my mic muted. I was calling that whole wreck. I had my mic muted the whole time. I feel not quite smart. But as I was saying, you saw these guys just taking to the grass to get through the wreck. You saw guys just slowing way down. You see, unfortunately, Trevor Harmon with a bunch of right front damage in the in and out machine. And really, you had to pick and choose your way through this. Some guys made it through. Joseph Andujar, I think, was one of those. Ronald White, unfortunately, was not. He actually got turned immediately. Ron Miller as well. And, of course, Brennan Elsoff, as we already documented, ended up in the wreck hard.
Well, I've been there, Andrew. I know how it goes. You know, if you get somebody having the booth with you, and then you just keep on talking, and then you realize, oh wow, I'm talking. Everybody on watching can hear me, but the guy in the booth can't hear me. You know, I've been there. I've done that.
Oh, I actually had the whole thing muted, so nobody could hear me. So it was just silence.
Oh.
I feel bad now, but we got it sorted out nonetheless. But yeah, that was a big wreck. That really took out a lot of good trucks. Thankfully, there's still plenty of good trucks left. You see Derek Robinson up in the front, Joe Burchett as well. And actually, we're going to try and bring someone up for an interview. We'll see who we've got in here.
We'll go ahead and do that. I'll be right back.
Sounds good. So I think we'll bring in David Heiza as we wait on Josh to come back. We'll get David Heiza up in here. That's the number 711. He's currently running, I believe, 5th spot. David Heiza, this is Andrew Cardinale in the PSI TV booth. Do you have a copy?
Yes, I do. Andrew, how you doing?
Well, David, it's good to see you out here and running clean and green so far. Obviously, we just had that big caution that was just behind you. Thankfully, that 711 car was not involved, or we could have seen that truck really on fire. It's got some nice flames on it to begin with, though. So just tell us how this race is going and if you've got a game plan moving forward.
You know, it's going well so far. I've been running with Robbie and I like to run together, so that's been fun. I've got a teammate up here too, Derek Robinson. So right now I'm just kind of, just seeing what's going on, seeing how everybody's racing. We'll make a plan for the last 5 laps or so. Otherwise, we're not going to push it and cause any trouble. So just got to be there at the end.
Well, that sounds great, man. It's good to see that 7-Eleven, like I said, intact, especially with that huge wreck behind you. Hopefully we see that 7-Eleven on fire in the good way, with Carl's body shop on the side. It looks good. Hopefully, like I said, keep it in one piece. There's still half a race to go. You've made it half the way. And really a lot of good racing. You're working together really good with Robbie Buckner there, so I'm glad to see you guys working together. I'm a fan of Buckner myself, and hopefully we see just continue this into hopefully the icebreaker. We'll see if you actually get there or not. Obviously, great competition with your teammate, for example, Derek Robinson. So is there anyone that you want to give a shout out to, or any other thoughts on this before I let you go?
Shout out to you for all the work that you do for this league. Other than that, nope, we're just going to try to send it and get up there in the top 2 and qualify for the next race.
Sounds good, man. Well, you go ahead and send it. You've got Buckner right back in front of you, then your teammate Derek Robinson, so it looks like you're in good company right now. So best of luck to you. We'll see what you can do in that number 711 car.
Thanks.
And that was David Heiza, currently running in the 5th spot, and they're actually coming to the restart here, so pretty good timing to end that one. And yeah, guys, I'm really looking forward to see what he can do. I know he's one of the quieter guys in the league that's been working to get a lot better, and he actually has. He's shown a lot of improvement lately, so it's cool to see him running good, possibly with a chance at making the BA Graphics Icebreaker. Joshua, are you back?
Yeah, I've been here ready to get this thing underway again. Go ahead and get it going, Andrew.
Well, sounds good. Yeah, these guys are coming out of turn 4 this time by Derek Robinson on point. Joe Burchett to his outside, Robbie Buckner in 3rd, Sawyer Rott in 4th, David Heiza, who we just spoke with, in 5th, Zachary Kreiser to his outside in 6th, John Kennedy in 7th, and Jared Wishon in 8th. And as these guys come through the tri-oval, we're going to get underway one more time. Green flag is out. The 818 fires off, and the 90 is going to follow. And already the 818 has a pretty decent advantage over the 83 car.
Yep, getting the advantage over the 83 car with Robbie Buckner pushing him, but you can't count out these other guys behind them. I mean, as they pick up speed here and catch the draft off the car in front of them and the vehicle behind them pushing them, of course, we see the Dynaco machine back here finally catching up in the number 52. He is up there with the pack of cars now, and hopefully he doesn't lose the draft. And the number 27 of Trevor Harmon as well is with them behind the 52 pushing him, and then 25 is on the outside of him. Or
well, actually,
52?
Jason Burgess just made a heck of a move to try and get in line. It didn't work. We see him spinning through the grass now. He's in the wall hard. He's not going to be able to continue. He tried to make a move and get in between the 52 and the 27, was never clear. And unfortunately, that's going to hurt Trevor Harmon, sending him back as he had to check up for Jason Burgess. He's going to lose the draft by a mile or maybe 3. He's already way out of it. I think Ryan Daniels managed to hang on to the draft, though. He's still hanging on to the back end. He's got Joseph Andujar and Chris Titus ahead of him. So we've still got the 52, Dynaco machine in the draft, but the 27 loses said draft.
Yeah, what a tough break by the 27, getting caught up in that and losing the draft. Of course, if another caution was to come out, he would be able to catch back up. But, that is, just something that he's going to have to hope for is another caution. But these other guys don't want it.
Yeah, definitely. And as we go on board here with Jared Rashawn, he's currently 4th in line on the top side, 8th place overall. He's currently following the Jaeger Racing Machines of the 39, Zachary Kreiser, and 49, Sawyer Ott. You see adoptapet.com on the back of the 39. Definitely go check them out. Certainly a worthy cause, really. I think it's pretty self-explanatory. Adoptapet.com has to be, something everyone can get behind. So these guys are currently running around this track at almost 200 miles an hour. Actually, a big checkup up ahead.
And I've seen a couple of cars spinning back here, but I didn't catch actually who it was. It looked like they got it going again. No harm, no foul. But a lot of these guys have lost the draft. Chris Titus, Trevor Harmon as well. Joseph has lost it as well. Hopefully he can catch with, Chris can catch him and, push him back up there. But 12 laps to go. Not a whole lot of laps left in this LCQ.
Yeah, you saw the 13 of Andujar and the 25 of Chris Titus out of the draft by quite a ways and back up to the front. We've got 8 trucks still in contention. Sawyer out working the top side. He actually was given the top side lead pretty much by Joe Pritchett just about a lap ago as the 83 hopped down to the bottom side in front of the 818. Now, personally, I would not have done that. I would have stayed up on the top side. If those guys got me into the lead in the first place, I would have stayed with them because the top side seems to be one of the better places to go in the trucks on plate tracks such as Daytona, Talladega. And I'm not sure I would have made that move, but we'll see if it works out for him. Clearly, right now, it's actually working pretty good as he's got about a 2-car length lead over Sawyer Ott.
Yep, I'm just looking around to see if Sawyer Ott has any of his teammates around him. Of course, I'm looking in, TeamSpeak at the his teammates, Aiden Young, Matthew Walzenbach, Zach Kreiser. I believe those are his teammates. Or people that, will help draft or, however they do it. I don't know how they do it. So, but, I'm not seeing really, Zachary Kreiser's right there with him. So maybe they can get together and work together. Maybe both of them can get into the icebreaker.
Yeah, Zachary Kreiser is a Jaeger Racing teammate to Sawyer Ott. He's working on getting that 39 into the lead. They've got back even with the 83 and the 818, and they're working at it. They haven't gotten the breakaway they need just yet, but they've got Jared Rashawn behind them and in good company. Well, real quick here, Josh, going to kick up a crank it up for about 5 laps, get these guys to about 5 laps to go, and then we'll bring it right back. And we'll be right back, ladies and gentlemen. Just enjoy the sights and sounds of the NMNTS Racing Series.
Well, alrighty, folks. Andrew's got something he's got to do with it, but you know, I'm going to handle this as much as I can, and hopefully give y'all the play-by-play. Of course, Joe Burchett still up here holding it on. Sawyer Ott was leading, but they got pushed back to third place. Jared Washawn in third, and he is going back too. And they're 3 wide up front. The 49, 96, and the 28 are all right there together. The 7-Eleven machine of David Heiza is right behind them, trying to make a position too. And man, oh, they're getting swirly. They are getting swirly back here. The 90 of Robbie Buckner just got below the double yellow line and got really loose. And they're still 3 wide by right in front of them. Oh man, this is crazy. They are fighting for positions. The 7-Eleven machine trying to make a move up top, going beside the number 96. They're still 3 wide, and they are not backing down. The 83 of Joe Burchett still is now caught up in the middle. Of course, the 49 dives in behind him of Sawyer Ott. They are not backing down at all as they come to 5 to go, 4 to go when they cross the line. And we've got, you know, somebody's blinking, but yeah, it looks like they got it under control. So, great job, these guys holding it on. The 96 of Jared Washawn still caught in the center. Boy, these guys they're making me nervous. Just, you know, they're doing a very fantastic job of holding on to it and not causing a big accident. The number 28 of Corey Walters caught on the outside. Is now going to pick up the number 90 of Robbie Buckner to try to move him up front. And the 7-Eleven machine of David Heiza takes point and will drop it low. And boy, the 96 and the 83 almost touched. That would be Jared Washawn and Joe Burchett. They almost ended their race that quickly as they get really, really close to each other. But oh man, they're really fighting up here for that LCQ, the last chance race to get into the icebreaker. Coming up here at 8 o'clock Central Time. That'll be around 9 o'clock Eastern. I will be going live on MaxB TV for that one. So I will be covering that one. Of course, we all know that Andrew is in that race. He will be starting on the outside in second place. So good luck to Andrew and everybody else in that race. But as far as this one is not over yet with 3 laps to go. The number 96 of Jared Washawn still holding on to the second place. David Heiza in first, wanting that LCQ, but coming on to the outside, the number 28 of Corey Waters, putting it side by side with the 7-Eleven machine as they are side by side all the way to 6th place. Sawyer Ott in the number 49 machine on the outside behind the number 90 of Robbie Buckner, and the 83 of Joe Burchett right beside him. The 39 of Zachary Kreiser is behind, trying to catch up, maybe get up there, maybe sneak the win in here, but oh man, it's not looking good for Zachary right about now. Of course, hopefully he can get up to the 83 and maybe make some moves, but back up front, man, they are still side by side going as they come to 2 laps to go as they cross the line. This will be the last lap here. The white flag is in the air. So now you will see these guys battle for position even ever so more as they come around onto the backstretch. Oh, it's going to be interesting. See who crosses the line first and second right now. 7-Eleven of David Heiza has first point. Jared Washawn in the 96 machine in second, but 49 as well in third behind the 96, and the 49 and the 28 touch. But as they come around into the triover, who is going to be first and second into? It will be the 7-Eleven and the 96. David Heiza and Jared Wyshawn in 1 and 2 spots. So that will be the checkered flag there, ladies and gentlemen. We'll see if Andrew comes back, and we'll go from there. But whoa, what a race that was. Well, alrighty, folks. We'll see if we can get these two guys up here and interview them real quick. Of course, we'll interview them as well at the start of the next session, which will be here in about 45 minutes, 8 o'clock, like I said, Central Time on Max Speed TV, 9 o'clock Eastern Time. We'll see if we can get these guys up here and interview them real quick.
And I just got back, Josh. Thanks for holding over the fort again, ladies and gentlemen, and Josh especially. Apologies for putting you on the spot there. It does look like we had David Heiser, Jared Wyshawn, top two, correct?
Yes, sir. David Heiser and Jared Wyshawn will be your LCQ winners.
All right. Well, the opposite of the commentator curse, we brought him in here for an interview, and he ends up winning it. David Heiser, the number 711. So kudos to him. Also want to pay attention to the name. Was it Sawyer Rott or was it Corey Walters that came in third? One thing from IRTVO is telling me one thing, and another part's telling me something else.
I'm showing Corey Walters.
All right, so it looks like Corey Walters will be your third place driver. Now, I want you to keep that name in mind, simply for the fact, or sorry, it's one of the two, but they may be added if a driver does not make it to the race later. If they're just going to be absent and they've already let the admins know, they may be added. I'm not going to speak for sure on that, but just keep that in mind before going over to the Max Speed TV race, that you may or may not see them in there. But Jared Wyshawn, David Heiser for sure will be there. And yeah, now we've got David Heiser. Do we have a Jared Wyshawn?
Yeah, and I see what you're saying. One thing is telling me one thing, and the other's telling me something different. So it's either Sawyer or Corey Walters. I'm not sure how the admins are going to do that, but we'll go from there.
And I'm not seeing Jared Wyshawn in TeamSpeak. He may not know to come in here if he gets that spot. But nonetheless, we can at least get David Heiser. I'll let you take that one since I talked to him earlier.
That sounds good. David Heiser, this is Joshua, man. You got a copy?
Yeah, I got you.
Well, David, man, you bring it home with the win tonight. You do make it into the icebreaker. How does it feel, bro?
I'll tell you what, that was a hell of a lot of fun.
You've got, another race coming up here in about, 45 minutes, 50 minutes or so. The game plan's still the same. Of course, a lot more, 30 more laps than what you did tonight. What's going on through your mind going into now the icebreaker?
Well, it's always good to start speed weeks on a high. We've got a bunch of races here at Daytona, so to win the first one out, even though it's the LCQ, is important. So we got another race tonight, like you said. A bunch of my teammates will be in that one. I'll start in the back of the pack, and we'll bide our time till about lap 50 or so, and then we'll start to make some moves.
Well, you and Jared both make it. The 1 and 2 spot, of course, y'all fought for the finish there. You come out with the win. Congratulations on that. And man, good luck on tonight in the icebreaker, and good luck the rest of the season, because I know it's going to be a hard-fought battle between everybody.
Yep, thank you. I appreciate it.
Dave, you too.
And real quick, if I may, David Heiser, congratulations on the LCQ victory. I know what it's like to win in this league at Daytona. Did it last year in the points race, and it's going to be a great feeling for you, just like it was for me. like I said, it's just a non-points race, and it's just the LCQ for the big event tonight, but it's still significant because you are now the top guy heading into the rest of Speed Weeks. I mean, you just went out there, you put your name on top in that number 711, so obviously, you know how to get it done. You got it done here tonight, and it'll be fun to race against you in about 30 minutes.
Yeah, I look forward to it, Andrew. It'll be fun.
All right, I'll see you there and leave you back down with your team. Let you celebrate that one and get ready for the race.
Thanks.
And again, that was David Heiza in the number 711 machine. Josh, thanks for coming up. You got a taste of what it's like here in the NMNTS Racing Series, and maybe a little more of a taste than we'd planned on. But hey, we'll take it. It's certainly good. I know if I was in your position, I would definitely want this kind of intro course, I guess, to these guys, see how they run. So it's got to be helpful in that regard, and I'll be looking forward to watching your race back a little while later. Looks like you'll have possibly some help from Brennan Elsoff, who's been with PSI TV for quite a few months now, and yeah, I'll be looking forward to it. Hopefully you enjoyed coming up here with me. I enjoyed having you up here, and hopefully the fans at home enjoyed.
Yes, it was an experience, and I am honored to call the race tonight, and of course the 19th race as well for the Monday Night Thunder Championship Series. It's an honor to be a part of it now, calling the race for y'all, and of course, y'all's gonna have a bigger field going into the regular season, so things are gonna change. Of course, 33 cars, or 32 cars, that's a lot of vehicles.
Yeah, it definitely is. It really is a competitive series. I believe, this series is the self-proclaimed highest-paying private truck series on iRacing. So, that already sounds pretty good. These guys are giving away, I believe, in upwards of $2,000 in prizes at the end of the season. I'm not sure on the exact metrics, but either way, this is a big series, and it's going to be big, and we can only do it, like you said at the top of the show, by working together. Got to thank you for coming on next week. I will be at the Daytona 500 myself, so, while that's... I never want to miss a race for a client. That's certainly a good reason, in my opinion, and, thankfully we got it worked out with Ken and John Barron over at SimSpec and heading this series, so, if anyone was going to cover for me, you're certainly at the top of the list, up there with guys like LSR TV and Ray Spot, so I'll take it.
Well, it is an honor, Andrew. Let me tell you, it's an honor, and I hope everybody enjoyed the race here today, or this one, the Last Chance Qualifier, and hope everybody enjoys the Icebreaker coming up.
Yeah, and we'll do this real quick since you got to get over there and start setting up for your stream on YouTube. Again, make sure you head over to the Max Speed TV channel. Actually, if you can send me a link through TeamSpeak, I'll get that on the screen for these guys so they can head right over there and also put it in the chat. So if you can send me the link through TeamSpeak just in a message, that would be great. And I can provide these guys with that because definitely want to get everyone from here over there watching that race. I'm going to go through the results while you do that. I'll just do them all so you have the time. David Heiza is your winner in the number 711 Chevrolet. Jared Washon comes home in second place. They will both transfer on to the Icebreaker tonight. Watch for either Sawyer Ott or Corey Walters to possibly be added. I can't guarantee anything, but just keep them in mind. Robbie Buckner comes home fifth, and from Robbie on, these guys definitely will not be in the show. Robbie Buckner, Zachary Kreiser, Joe Burchett, Derek Robinson, Ryan Daniels, and Trevor Harmon make up your top 10. Sorry, was I just muted through all of that?
Yes.
Okay, well, I went through the results. I'll do it again, and I'll do the top 10, then give you the remaining 8. Top 10 is going to be David Heiza, Jared Wishon. They'll move on automatically. Keep in mind Sawyer Ott and Corey Walters. Robbie Buckner in 5th definitely will not make it, unfortunately. Everyone from here on back will not as well. That's Zachary Kreiser, Joe Burchett, Derek Robinson, Ryan Daniels, and Trevor Harmon in 10th.
Yep, Chris Titus will be finishing up as well. John Kennedy, Joseph. Hey, I have trouble with his last name.
I believe that's Andy Har.
Yeah, Andy Har, Ronald White, Jason Burgess, Ron Miller, and Jared Mogard, and Brendan Elshoff.
And yeah, that completes your field here tonight from Daytona International Speedway. 18 trucks and only 2 will move on. But keep in mind the 49 and the 28, that would be Sawyer Ott and Corey Walters. We may see one of them in the icebreaker itself in just a few. Just keep that in mind. And yeah, you can see the link scrolling across the bottom of your screen now. I'll actually make sure you can actually see what it is. I'll also put it in the Facebook chat in just a second. Give me a moment to get back to the stream, and I will put it in there so that you guys can all go right over to the Max Speed channel and follow up on this race. It's certainly worth it. You know, by all means, go over there and follow up on this. Can I actually comment? Actually, may not be able to add it. There we go. Okay. Had to get Facebook to work with me here. So yeah, that is the link to go to the Max Speed TV channel. Make sure to go subscribe to them. And yeah, I think it's certainly worth it. Obviously, they'll be covering this race and a couple more in the NMNTS Racing Series, at least next week's truck race from Daytona, the points paying event, while I'll be in a nice hotel in Orlando, Florida. And yeah, I think that's a wrap on tonight. Joshua Medlock, thanks for coming up, covering me a little bit and covering me next week. Definitely appreciate it. This has been PSI TV from the Daytona International Speedway. Make sure again to head over to Max Speed TV in just a moment and you can catch the icebreaker.
It was an honor.
Sounds good. Once again, guys, thanks for watching. We'll kick it off. It's going to be a bit of an awkward ending. Sorry, I don't have everything pulled up right now. It's a bit of a rush. But thanks for tuning in, everybody. We'll kick this, like I said, over to Max Speed for the coverage in about 25 minutes. Make sure to be there on YouTube. I posted the link in the chat, so make sure to head on over there, subscribe to them, and follow up on this event. We'll see you next time.
In this cauldron of fiery wills and burning competition, rivalries heat up quicker. This is an oval of stolen victories and crushed dreams, filled with volumes of unfinished business. Sooner or later, you all become rivals. With everyone fighting over one finish line, there's never enough glory to go around.